Hi everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight, the horror movie podcast here in the Mild Fuzz Podcast Network. Class is in session because the Professor Tim Vargilish is here.
You know, sometimes a hug can be just as intimate as a kiss. Hello.
Well, if that doesn't send shivers down your spine, I don't know what will. So yeah, we talk about horror movies, sometimes from the past,
And sometimes
from the present.
from the present.
Yes. And this week we have a new horror film, which is still playing in theaters, and we wait to go see it because we're insane.
How is that possible?
It baffles my mind that this was released to a public audience.
There's like so many theaters around me, and I still had to like go the fuck out of my way to see this thing.
Oh my god. This rough cut of a movie, which, you know, is called The Darkness. It stars Kevin Bacon. It was directed by Greg McLean. Radha Mitchell's also in it, who I haven't seen in ages, but I remember her mostly from Pitch Black. She was a lead in that.
Oh.
Aye. Well, as always, we will start spoiler free, and we'll put up the spoiler wall at some point, and we'll warn you before we go into them. But as you can tell from our attitude, get into this one. This movie. Now, actually, I want to preface this because last week we reviewed The Other Side of the Door, and I said that I thought it was the weakest horror movie of this year. Safely, which was saying something because The Forest existed and maybe something else, I can't remember, but I said it was easily the worst movie of the year, or the worst horror movie of the year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The Darkness is the worst horror movie of the year, easily.
It's like they heard what you said and was just like, no way, not without seeing me, don't say that.
Yeah, we can top that, is what this movie decided to tell us. So, The Other Side of the Door didn't have a long reign at the top of the shit pile. It has a new king, and its king is The Darkness. And
Jesus Christ, man, it's weird. Sometimes like you see a bad movie and it just kind of makes you angry. This kind of like made me sad.
Yeah, you know? I know what you mean. This is the thing. Like, this is a movie this is from Blumhouse. I mean, yeah, the quality of the movies varies a bit. There's some good movies, there's some not good movies, but they're all movies that feel finished. This was like a rough cut, edited mess, and it's not like it's just some no-name cast. Kevin Bacon, Radha Mitchell, Paul Reiser's in this.
I forgot he was in
May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in that. He's not a big name compared to the other ones, admittedly, but, you know, like, there's recognisable faces in this.
Matt Walsh from UCB and Veep, where it had like a weird, like, meaningless part in the beginning,
and is never brought up again.
Yeah, that I thought was especially odd. Like, you setting up these like family friends as if they would have something to do with something. Yeah,
they never came back into it. The movie, the editing in this movie is atrocious to the point where I notice when editing is not that great. Like, it's this kind of thing where if a movie is edited well, and for the most part movies are edited well because you tend not to notice it, and that's kind of the point, is you don't notice editing. But when it's not good, that's when you start to notice it being kind of shit. And the point I'm getting at is that, Tim, you told me before we started recording that even you noticed how bad the editing was in this.
And the way I was kind of think about it too is, you know, I mentioned this before, but I'm not a very technical guy. I didn't study film in school or anything. I'm just a dude who has seen a lot of movies. You know, I've mostly horror movies. I watch a lot, and, you know, when something's done really well, I can appreciate like the craft in it. But for the most part, I'm not, you know, as likely to kind of pick out like, you know, these little things that maybe like someone like you or, you know, more seasoned film watchers might be. But yeah, even I was like fuck, man, this is like shit. Like, this is like someone, like whoever did it, I don't know if, you know, they're doing a solid for like their friend's nephew who like needed a job or something.
I don't know even know who to blame. Like, is this like a terrible editor, or is this the best he could do with what the director gave them?
That's true, yeah.
You know, like, I don't know exactly where the problem lies, but there are some awful cuts in this.
Like, there's a weird contract where, like, a disgruntled janitor got, like, final, like, cut on it or something, like, just a weird loophole.
No, but these weird things where characters sort of move and continuity just feels like there's just this jarring movement between edits. It's like, oh, it's so bad. Seeing this in, like, a mainstream movie that's being released to theaters is so weird. And, like, I expect this kind of editing from, like, Birdemic. Now, at least this had sound mixing. You know, it's not quite in that realm, but you know, like, you know what I mean? It feels like one of these movies made by people who don't know what they're doing. You know, even shouldn't films have better editing than this? I've made films with better editing than this. So yeah, there's that. There's that. That was the thing that stood out. First of all, I guess we should tell you what the plot roughly is. You know. So you know what the hell we're talking about, because I don't recommend seeing this. Obviously, even though we're going to do spoilers later, and we're going to warn you we're going to do spoilers, I recommend that you stick around, hear how bad the movie is, spoilers and all, and don't bother seeing it, because trust me, this will be a better put together and more entertaining time than actually watching the movie. I promise you that. I will guarantee you that.
You know, there's a lot of times I usually will, you know, still tell people to watch the movie because, you know, maybe we're a little harsh, but, you know, people might want to make up their own minds, or maybe there's like some redeeming thing, or maybe it's so bad that it's entertaining. But this had like none of that.
Yeah.
This is like avoid at all costs if you can, even if it's like streaming. This is no bother.
Yeah. Do you know? And this movie had one of the most abrupt, weird, like, starts I have ever seen. You get the opening like studio logos as you do, you know, Blumhouse and a couple of other ones that I don't remember, and we immediately were in like a canyon, like out somewhere. The main family are you know, vacationing. They're visiting different parts of the US. With their family friends, another couple who are never brought up again after this opening. But so they've got two kids. They've got a boy who's about 12, I want to say.
Sure.
Yeah, 12 and 12.
I'm bad with ages, but yeah, sounds about right.
Something in that region. And I think they actually confirmed later on he's autistic, but they, you know. Yeah. They hint that he's, you know, kind of awkward and, like, you know, you get, is he autistic? And I think they do eventually confirm that he's autistic. And then a teenage daughter who's, like, you know, 16 or whatever. But the way the movie starts is it just uses a couple of establishing shots so they look at the area, and then it just jumps right into like the conversation between Kevin Bacon and his like friend while they're barbecuing, and it doesn't feel like there's any proper like introduction. Like, movies have a way of building into their first scene. There's a way to get into it, you know?
Yeah, they want to ease you into the world, not just like shove you into it.
And you can start with a conversation. It's something that I would do as well if I was maybe writing a script, but usually if you're going to start with immediate conversation, you have it be intriguing because, like, oh, what they're talking about, and you're building something, but it's small talk about whatever shit's going on. Like, you know, they're barbecuing and they're talking about whatever they do at home, or I don't know, but it just abruptly starts. I'm like, oh, okay.
I mean, the only thing I guess is like if they're, you know, trying to set you up to be like, no, trust us, the rest of the movie is going to be this boring.
Yeah, this is why I'm thinking it might not be. I mean, neither it might be shit as well. It could be both that are shit, but this is why I think at least the core problem is with the director and all the script. I honestly think this movie, when they put this together, they were trying to salvage a complete piece of shit. Like, I think it was already a piece of shit from the script, either, or for everything they shot. But I think this is the first sign where they didn't have an opening. It just cuts into this scene.
Well, what might be kind of interesting is, like, a lot of times you hear about, like, someone will write this great script, but then it gets changed, you know, when it goes through the studio, and then, you know, all these different hands get on it. Or, like, you have a good director, but then he gets this shit script or something. But maybe this is, like, a rare case where everyone sucked. It was like a shitty script given to a shitty director who they hired a shitty editor, and maybe it's just like really like, oh man, this doesn't happen very often, but everyone was terrible.
No, I think that's it seems the case. So yeah, the movie starts in a canyon, and the younger autistic boy falls into a cave. And by the way, it's like, cause it basically jumps down onto the rock, but the rock sort of like, it turns out not to be rock or ground or whatever it is, but it looks like ground, and it just like this perfect hole just like collapses in as he lands on it. It's the most goofy thing ever. But basically, he finds what is like an old Native American like
altar or something.
Cave. Yeah, there's these like ritual stones on this little like podium built out of rock, and it cuts away. We don't even get to see any hint that something creepy is going to happen. It just cuts back to the family, and then they finish their holiday, they finish their vacation, and they drive home. Like, you don't actually get any hint that anything. I mean, we know it is because it's a horror movie called Darkness. You know, we've seen the poster on the trailer. We know bad stuff's going to happen, but it's this weird thing, and this is the thing that So yeah, basically they go back to the house, and of course something's followed the kid back from this place with the stones, and creepy shit starts happening. However, what I thought was really weird about this movie was the way it doesn't actually focus on that for the first like 70% of the movie.
It's so long. It's so much like
it focuses in all this really weird character drama of all these things that take precedent over any of the actual horror plot, and none of them are interesting, and they're all really cliched, and some of them come out of nowhere, some of them get dropped just as quickly. It is so weird, and I won't spoil them till we get to spoilers, but what were you going to say, Tim?
I was just about to spoil one, but like
yeah, okay, yeah, see, I'm glad I said that then. But oh god, like, and they all have their own problem, which is, I mean, the kid's obviously the one that's more connected to the horror plot, but obviously he's autistic, and there's nothing wrong with having an autistic character, but you have an autistic character, you have a daughter who has her own thing, which again, I'm not going to spoil any of them. You've got the mother who's got her own problems, and you've got the father, Kevin Bacon, who's got his own problems, and they're all completely separate, and it's basically like,
it's almost as if the real monster was the family's darkness.
It's kind of like people have real problems in real life, they do, and sometimes families can be unlucky, and you'll have, you know, maybe two, but the fact that all four of these people all have really specific like problems,
and they all felt like very like separate, kind of like, oh, this person's over here with their own little problem, and this person's over here, like, you know, it's not like the conflict was coming from like everyone being together. It's kind of like they're just all off on their own little separate thing.
Yeah, and the horror stuff just felt very tacked on for most of the movie until the last like 25 minutes where it kind of starts to happen, and they do and when it does do the horror stuff, it's nothing but cliches and done poorly compared to every other time you've seen it. You know, when they finally bring in the non-white people who believe that creepy shit can happen, because that's what always happens in these movies. It's always a Hispanic old person, you know, who comes in, and in this case it's an old Hispanic person and her granddaughter, so there's two of them this time at least. I guess they're breaking conventions there, but it's always someone of a different race. They always come in, they hold up some, you know, hanging dangly things and talk about ghosts or demons or whatever, and
which is kind of a funny coincidence that all of the, you know, what I think we can both agree on, like the three worst movies this year so far, The Forest, The Other Side of the Door, and this, kind of what they all have in common is it's all white main characters who are kind of like being attacked or haunted by like basically like other cultures.
Yeah, because The Forest was Japan, Other Side of the Door was India, and this one stays in America, but it's like Native Americans, so different culture. So yeah, it's all these
poor white people being haunted by Native Americans.
I can't believe out of the three of these movies, I'm actually going to confidently say The Forest was the best one. But it was.
It is.
It really was. It was terrible, but it's the best one out of these three by a mile.
I think at the very least, well, it seems like each one, the further along the year we go, like they become like less and less horror. Like at least The Forest had like a good percentage of it that was kind of like playing off horror, and then the other side of the door got less so, and then this even less so. But I mean, the one thing I can say about those other movies, though, is while I still won't say that they're good, at least maybe there was some, like, once, like, the ghost stuff kind of starts happening, at least I can kind of point to, like, oh, maybe that's kind of a cool design, or that, you know, kind of like we mentioned with the other side of the door, like, oh, the ghosts look kind of cool, even though it's in the shitty movie. This, unfortunately, though, can't even say that. Like, you know, most of the time it was just kind of like black goo or shadows.
Yeah, it was really uninspired. Like I said, it was just nothing but cliches. Like, when the horror stuff did happen, it was nothing but cliches. There was no original thought at all in any of the horror stuff, and it ends so abruptly and so easily at the end.
Yeah.
And then the movie actually ends as abruptly as it started. Which I can't talk about how it does, but it basically, you get one little snippet of a scene to show how things have ended up, and it cuts to credits, and the whole thing just it feels like a cobbled together mess where I don't know if the producer came in after it was shot and they looked at the rushes, or they looked at the original cut and said, this movie's garbage, we need to start cutting chunks out of this to make it as quick as possible. But it kind of feels like that. It feels like they came in and gutted so much of it so that it was at least shorter.
Yeah.
But it feels so bad to watch. It just, nothing clicks. Things just happen, and I think that's as much as we can say without spoilers, because I really want to start digging
into this piece of shit.
Yeah, I want to tear it to shreds.
Fuck this movie.
I really do. So here. So obviously we do not recommend it. It's a complete piece of utter garbage. Do not see The Darkness, and therefore you can stick around for the spoilers, which I am now warning you, just in case for some reason you do care. Full spoiler warning from this point on. All right. So let's tackle family member problem number 1. And that is the possible adultery from Kevin Bacon's character, which is expertly hinted at in the opening scene. When Radha Mitchell, the wife, is taking photos up in the rock face, and she looks down and notices Kevin Bacon and the couple, the friend couple, the women in that couple, and Kevin Bacon sort of walk out of a little thing, out from another part of the rock face, and she's sort of looking down at them, and she looks really suspicious, like she's like sure something's going on, and I'm like, okay, all right, that's nice. Like, you just sort of threw that. It's okay, fine. But the rest of the movie, we have Kevin Bacon, who gets this young hot assistant at his work, who, by the way, we never know what his job is.
Oh no. He wears very trendy glasses, has a very nice shirt that is like buttoned way too low. He has
a project of some sort. Yeah. Paul Reisel's his boss, but that's all he ever does is talk about the project and how he'll need more time or it's running late. Like, he never actually says what he does. We have no idea what his job is.
It makes me laugh when they have those like really vague jobs in movies where it's just like some guy being like, hey, did you score the big account? Or like, hey, don't forget we need a project update by noon. Like all this stuff where it's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
So he's got this young hot assistant who he won't. He try to have an affair, and he kind of goes down that path at one point, but then it gets dropped, and the whole thing's just kind of pointless. But
it's just like, I've never not cared so much about something.
I know. And then you get the wife who, as it turns out halfway through, has got a drinking problem, even though that's never hinted at in the first half whatsoever. She just buys a lot of booze, and then Kevin Bacon sort of notices the bottles and gives her a face, and like, oh, I guess she kind of has a problem then. Okay.
That's the thing. No one ever like talks about the problems. All it is just like a lot of people looking at the other people with the problems.
They just keep happening, and they keep noticing they happen, but they never actually.
There should have just been like a huge awkward dinner scene where they're all just at a table like looking at one another, like just glancing at one person, glances at the other person, glances at another person.
Yeah, the
With a
teenage
ghost in the background looking bored.
the teenage daughter's problem though is the one that cracks me up the most.
Yeah, this was like the most like, wait, what?
Yeah, because this is like 3 scenes, right? So the first scene where we see anything's wrong is there's a scene where she's in the bathroom and she's sort of looking at her stomach and like pulling it out and like as if she's like paying attention to her weight. And when her mother chaps the door, by the way, in the most well, she doesn't quite chap it, but she sort of like knocks it. She's going in and shouts on her, and she's not even going into the bathroom. She's like going into her bedroom because she has like a bathroom that's like, you know, her own bathroom that's like kind of separate room, and like she just sort of knocks her, sort of opens her bedroom door and shouts in, you know, breakfast is coming or whatever she says. I can't remember. And the daughter just opens the bathroom door and starts screaming at her, "Oh my god, can I not get privacy? Oh my god!" And just screams at her like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? All she did was say breakfast is coming. She didn't barge into the bathroom. You weren't even doing anything wrong. You were looking in the mirror. Fucking stupid." Then like 3 scenes later we get the second scene where we see her come into the bedroom and put her fingers on her mouth to vomit in like a Tupperware box.
Yeah.
And her mother catches her doing it, and then she lifts up the mattress and finds that there's like just like 50 of these boxes all. I'm like, okay, right, I get that some people have eating disorders and do this kind of shit, but you would think she would try and, I don't know, empty these boxes or dispose of the vomit that she is, you know, not keep a collection.
Again, it's like, what does this have to do with anything?
Oh, it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with a fucking thing.
It's just so bizarre. Like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if they knew what type of movie they wanted to make.
Maybe the idea originally with the script was that, oh, this family's full of like all these different problems, whether it be health or whether it be mental or whatever you'd call adultery, you know, whatever that category that falls under. Yeah. But like, you know, like they all have problems, and the ghost would somehow bring them all together and be stronger. Like maybe that's what the arcs were going to be, but none of it's actually in the movie. They just have these problems and they aren't related to anything.
Yeah, I mean, if there's something like that, or something like maybe showing how the ghost like heightens, you know, their problems, or you know, like increases it to the 10th degree or some shit like that, or uses that to prey on them, totally fine, whatever. You know, even if you still don't like the idea, at least it would have seemed better executed. But this is just, I don't know.
Doesn't the daughter like proper like start hitting the mother as well when she catches her?
I think she does. Yeah,
she like proper runs up to her and starts like hitting her. And the dad has to pull her off, and then they find everything, and then we get one scene when they're at the hospital with her, implying that she's going to get like, you know, attention of some kind for this, and that is the last you ever hear of this or see of it. It's never brought up again. This is like maybe halfway into the movie after that, and it's just never brought up again. It was pointless.
Yeah, it was pretty awful. I
think by the time we get like maybe 40 minutes, an hour into the movie, somewhere in that region, there's a couple of like shadows at one point, or like eventually the kid, the son, you know, well, they imply he sets a fire, but it's probably just magic. It's probably just a ghost or whatever. They doing it, and and that's when they started to take things a bit seriously. And of course we have this scene that's in every paranormal movie that's set in present day in the last like 10 years, where they look up on the internet and they find videos on YouTube, and she sends the wife says the husband the video explaining the entire backstory of the plot. Like, conveniently, all of it in this YouTube video. This one video explains the whole thing. And they reach out to the paranormal people who come in and try and perform some weird, it's not an exorcism, but I don't know, they start chanting and saying things. I don't know. But the fact that is, though, is we get to this point in the movie and we're like 15 minutes maybe from the end.
Yeah.
It's like, it's taken this long to get to the point where we're full on treating it like there's actually like a supernatural thing happening. Mm-hmm. And it just ends really quickly. The kid, the burnt spot in his room where the fire was, becomes a portal to the temple that he was in at the start of the movie. And each of the 5 stones that he stole from there represent these 5 animals, these 5 gods of the Americans.
Yeah.
And they're there with their masks on, and Kevin Bacon decides to go in after him. And he just goes in the portal, he says, "Take me instead," which, by the way, actually also happened on the other side of the door. We had a "take me instead" moment. But then the kid, because he wasn't scared of them, I guess that's the beauty of being autistic, because you don't feel the same way other people do. I think that's what they were getting at. And he managed to put the stones back, and therefore, that's it. Problem solved. The ghosts go away. And
that's all you had to do.
we have one quick 20-second scene of them playing with a football in a park as a family, implying that everything's okay, and then it cuts to credits. It is the most tone-deaf movie I think I've ever seen in my life.
It seemed like they were just like, it seemed like they forgot they were doing a horror movie, remembered at the last minute, but everyone wanted to go home. So
Yeah. Oh, did we forget about that nice 5-10 minute scene of the dinner with the couple go out with Paul Reiser and his wife, who's played by I think it's Ming Na Wen from who plays May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I may get her name slightly wrong, but she plays Paul Reiser's wife, and we have this long scene of them at dinner talking about various things, and the whole thing is just to set up the sort of marital dispute between our main characters, because she embarrasses him by bringing up that there might be a supernatural thing going on.
Yeah.
Which turns out, like 2 scenes later, that Paul Reiser's son had an issue years ago, and they went to like a magic woman who cured him of everything. Also,
It's insane.
It's just convenient. It's just convenient that this character who is just a complete sleazeball turns out to have a connection like that. I don't know.
I'm laughing because I kind of, to be honest, I forgot a lot of what happens in this movie, just because it was so like boring and uninteresting. But as you're talking about it, I'm like, remember, like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And it's like, yeah, that was fucking dumb.
It frequently did things that were not related, and then when it had to get on with the plot, it was just all these really convenient, really easy things. It's never scary.
And then, I mentioned it as well with Other Side of the Door. I hate to keep comparing it to last week's movie, but again with that, like, I still kind of thought like the overall idea of the movie was kind of cool. But for the Other Side of the Door, I thought it was interesting, like a door where you could communicate between the dead and stuff. I thought that was kind of an interesting idea, but I can't even say it like with this. Like all it is like these stones, and if you take the stones, these kind of vague, nondescript ghosts will come after you. I mean, they'll wait a good while. They'll let you hash out any family issues or any stuff you got going on, but eventually they will haunt you a bit, and then that's it. Like, I can't even say like that there was like a germ of like something cool or interesting there.
There's a lot of things that are just dropped as well. Like the neighbour's got a dog who the ghost possessed the dog, and the dog comes in and bites one of them, and because of that, the dog gets taken away because I think it's just the dogs went, rabid or whatever, and the neighbour looks pissed and upset about it, as you would if your dog was taken from you, and Kevin Bacon's like, sorry, and then I was thinking, all right, maybe the neighbour's going to pop up later, like, because he's going to like want revenge and help, end up seeing something bad and help out, or it felt like he was a character who was been set up to either want revenge or something, and he's just never seen again.
He was set up to be a character.
Yes, he was set up to be a character, and then he wasn't one.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep. That's it right there.
And I don't know, it's almost kind of hard to talk about these movies because they're so uninteresting and uninspired that there isn't even like a lot that you can say, like, at least if it's stupid but has like crazy banana shit going on, at least you can be like, this was fucking crazy. Like, when we talked about Green Inferno, fucking awful movie, but at least we'd be like what the fuck happened here and here and here. This is just like, I don't really have much to say because
nothing interesting
it was
happened.
just boring.
It was dull, it was uneventful, it was cliched, it was horribly edited. In fact, the horrible editing was the most entertaining part of the movie, because at least it was making me go, oh, what's going on here? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. This movie was garbage. Let's get to ratings. I guess rate it out of 10 stones, since that was a prominent part of the plot. All the actors seem bored as well in it, by the way. I should mention that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily bad actors. Like, I mean, I don't know, maybe some of the smaller characters or whatever, but like, you got like Kevin Bacon, like Paul Reiser, the agent from S.H.I.E.L.D. These are all good people, but yeah, they just felt like, they were just kind of going by the numbers,
Yeah, I feel like, an actor has to be directed to get certain things out of them, and I feel like maybe the director just didn't direct them at all. It feels like such an undirected movie. Nothing about this is interesting or inspired. It's just there. It just feels like such a, like, it went into a machine and it churned this out without any heart or soul or understanding of why people like horror movies, or why we should care, or how films are made, or how human beings react to each other. And so yeah, out of 10 stones, Timmy, what would you rate this?
I mean, easily a 1 for me. I forget, because we've been giving like a lot of movies low scores lately, so I forget what the other ones I've been giving, if they've been around 2s or 3s, but I remember I gave Green Inferno a 1, and which is also a horrible movie, but in such a different way.
It's a more eventful one.
Yeah, this is just as bad, but in a much more boring, less exciting way.
I didn't even give Green Inferno a 1 though. I thought that was being a bit too harsh, because I mean, I hated it, don't get me wrong. I gave it like a 2 or a 3. I can't remember the exact figure now.
I mean, if I compared it to this movie or rated it retroactively after seeing something like this, maybe something like this bad might bump it up a little bit to like a 1.5 or a 2 or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking I give it a 3, but I could be wrong. But I'm agreeing with you here. This is a 1.
Yeah.
It's a 1 out of 10. Maybe a 1.5, and the 1.5 would purely just because if Birdemic's a 1, then this has some better qualities than Birdemic in terms of, at least it's got sound mixing and doesn't look as ugly as Birdemic, even though the editing is still atrocious. But it's a 1 out of 10. I can't even. There's nothing. And last week I gave All Side of a Door a 2. I think I give it a 2. So
I want to say I gave it like a 2 or a 3.
Yeah,
I think
that's a 2 and a 1 back to back. That is dire.
Tough times.
But there you go. Well, that wraps up that. But one bit of exciting news for you this week, and something to cheer us up a little bit, is this isn't the only episode this week.
Shut your nippled mouth.
Me and Tim, for the next little while, are going to be working double time. And you're going to be getting 2 episodes a week for a little while. So,
whoa, I never agreed to this, but let's do it.
you agreed.
I know.
But and I will say the other film we're doing this week is much better than this one, and we knew that going in because it's one we'd seen before. I won't say what it is, but you could probably guess given what might be coming next week. So yeah, there'll be another episode this week, probably maybe on the Friday or around Friday, maybe Thursday, maybe Saturday, somewhere in that region of the week. So
this Friday the 13th, you can expect a little bit of bonus coal in your stocking.
It's not the 13th on Friday, Timmy.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure Sunday's the 12th, so it can't be.
Fantastic.
Also, May had a Friday the 13th. I know that because it was my birthday, so I can remember that. Yeah.
No, it doesn't happen often that we get them back to back in consecutive weeks, so that's cool.
Well, we never get them in consecutive weeks because you can't have 13th 2 weeks in a row.
Maybe a long time ago. I don't know.
What, a long time ago when months only had 13 days in them? Like, even that we couldn't do it because it'd have to. Yeah, because weeks would have to have at least 14 days.
Well, I also have an announcement to make for some new little bonus content.
Okay, I don't know about this.
Will be thrown out here.
This is terrifying. He did not prep me with this. He did not warn me at all. Tim, what was this?
Don't worry, you don't have to do anything. So your pretty little head is in the clear. Oh no, something I decided to do is going to be fun is I'm going to start drawing a picture that represents each movie that we watch.
All right, okay.
So when we post the new episodes, I will repost them on all my social media stuff on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, all that stuff. And to go along with the episode, you'll have a nice little picture that I drew. I'm not much of an artist, don't hold it against me, but I do like to draw, and I've been wanting to get more practice in. So I've drawn pictures for both movies we've done this week. So when the episodes go up, you can expect that little treat.
In fact, since I know about this, I will actually put them in the video as he says it.
Ooh,
At the end, I'll actually put it. I'll have it come up. I'll have it fade in underneath us, and you can see it for yourselves. So yeah, so that'll be on screen right now. I've not seen it yet, but it'll be on screen right now. I'm sure it's lovely.
I think you're gonna. I think you. I think you will enjoy the one I did for this movie. Can I say it was the other movie we did this week? Like right away, I had an image in my head that was like, "Ooh, this is cool." That's kind of what made me want to do it, because I'd be like, "Oh, like I can get these ideas for these images I can draw." Though, but then when I was trying to think of when to do for this movie, it probably took me an hour to think. Like, I don't even know what to draw.
Had it been me, Tim, I'm not gonna lie, and I can't draw, but if I could draw and I was doing this, I would have drawn a turd, just a turd.
That was something I was thinking of just drawing like just a pile of shit with like a DVD copy of The Darkness sticking out or something. But I think what I landed on was is just as effective. So.
Okay, cool. I look forward to seeing this. So there you go. That's some interesting stuff. So you're getting 2 episodes a week for at least the next 2 months, I think. Who knows if we'll keep doing it past then? We might not. We'll see how we feel. But for the next little while, you're getting 2 episodes a week, and you can look forward to that. Yeah, and what that'll let us do as well, because there's been some old movies we've been wanting to do to catch up before new sequels and things come out later on in the year. It lets us do both new recent films and do some old stuff at the same time. So
it's almost like each week we'll be doing a movie from the past and the present.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Okay, and with that said, you mentioned social media, Timmy. Where can people find you?
So all my social media stuff is at Tim Vargulish. So that's Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and make sure to like my comic book stuff at facebook.com/goatmancomics. I know I keep mentioning it throughout the year, but getting really close to a new book being finished, and as soon as it is, I'll have some exciting news about it. So please like Goatman Comics, and I will keep you updated as soon as I'm ready to announce stuff.
Cool. You can find me on Twitter and other social media places at Wibble89, which I usually have on the screen so you can even understand it if my accent makes it impossible to decipher, which I've heard that some people think I say Wibble instead of Wibble with 2 O's, but but you can do that. You can also, of course, check out a bunch of other shows here in the network. We have 1.21 Gigawatts, in which me and Matt review regular movies, by regular, I mean non-horror movies. We did The Nice Guys this past week, and that was a fantastic movie. One of the best movies of the year so far. I thoroughly recommend checking out the review, but checking out the movie,
absolutely. It looks very good.
You can also check out the Almost Cancelled TV reviews. Every week we do a bunch of TV reviews. On YouTube, they all go up individually as the episodes air. We do them as quickly as we can and get them up. We also have a new DC Comics podcast called Comics from the Multiverse to coincide with the start of their DC Rebirth thing that they're doing right now, and we're reviewing the books once a week in a nice big batch, which is again on the Mail Fuzz TV channel on YouTube, or of course iTunes and all your podcatcher apps that you enjoy using. But of course, find us on Twitter at mild_fuzz. Email is mailfuzz@gmail.com. If you've got a movie you want to suggest we do at some point, I can certainly add them to the list. The never-ending list, of course, which is why we'll be doing this till we're dead.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully that's a will as well, not not too soon. So you can do that. Of course, if you're on YouTube, you can just tell us in the comments below what you thought of The Darkness, if you're fortunate enough to have seen it. And so on. Episode 55, I want to say. And it is maybe the worst movie we have ever reviewed.
And I'll just say the worst episode we ever done.
That's not true. we've had stinker. That was a good, solid episode.
Oh yeah, there were those ones without me. So that's true.
Yes, there was those ones without you. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. Screens After Midnight, episode 54. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Keep watching scary movies, and whatever you do, don't turn the light off.
Turn off the darkness. Spider-Man.